Aylesbury in the Class 121 bubble car. This is part of the modified Class 121 that comes with the Just Trains London to Aylesbury route, as well as their extension for the Cheltenham main line. The reason I have to say about the hood is today we're doing a route learning video, so we're going to open the doors to allow passengers to board the Aylesbury. We'll be calling at Aylesbury, Little Kimble, Risbrough and Princess Risbrough. This is a heavily modified version of one of the scenarios that comes with the game. I've modified the train, the weather and a lot of other things, so as such I can't give this scenario out. So we're going to jump into the cab, the Class 121, quite an easy cab setup. The reverser goes to forward, which I believe is where it is out there. Yep. So the reverser goes to forward, as I mentioned. What I'm actually going to do next is press the Shift and E key, which puts us into Gear 1. This is a manually transmitted train. That's even how the words would work in the English language. As such, what that means is when we're in the cab, we get up to about 15 miles an hour, change gear, change gear, change gear. We also coast in Gear 4. So I'm just going to set to Gear 1. And as you saw when we were out the cab, they've also set up the headlights. The destination blinds are uncontrollable by the player, unfortunately, with this locomotive pack. However, I believe that would be a little bit too much to ask for. But it's always, so I've got those preset for Princess Risbrough, which is where we are going today, or Princess Risbrough I should say. We don't need full brake holding us in. I'm also going to make sure that the handbrake is released, which it is. And you can see behind us we've got the passengers. This is very similar to all of the, well, this is part of the family of traditional DMUs, the first DMUs really to be mainstreamed in Great Britain. There we go, we'll buzz back. So we've got the right of way now, we've got the road, so we shall release the brake and take power. Unfortunately, it's not a game levels thing, why the engine is so quiet, but this is just the level that the pack is set at. I am using the Armstrong Powerhouse Enhancement Pack with a patch by James Idle. Now, as we're in Gear 1, I can fully open the taps, but we will barely exceed 15 miles an hour, which is our current speed limit. There goes a Class 165. So you can see the line that way leads towards London Marylebone Station, and down past the Metropolitan line, which will also be covered in a future video. I'm planning to cover this area quite extensively in the not too distant future. I'm just going to get the notes up in front of me now. So I've got the 30 board there, so what I'm going to do is have idle power, go into second gear, take power again. And that'll help the speed build. That is Aylesbury TMD over there. So next up, as I mentioned, is Little Kimble. It's the longest leg of our journey today, over half the journey actually, and that is 4.4 miles in total. Our total journey today is roughly 7.5 miles in length. So I'm now going to accelerate again to the next speed limit, which is 40 miles an hour. So I'm going to set the power to idle, let the RPM drop, go into Gear 3, take power. Just going to use whistle boards on this route, which we'll do our best to obey. So this scenario is set in the early morning. As such, it's really just about the time we start doing whistle boards, because the whistle boards are mainly in place at pedestrian crossings, as it's where pedestrians are going to walk across the line. It just gives them notification, hey, there's a museum piece going past. Now, the Class 121 isn't actually a fictional vehicle for this route. Cheltenham Railways, until I believe it was 2016, actually operated the Class 121. And it was actually taken out of the museum to be on the main line. And quite a few successful situations where that has happened in the UK as of late. It's going a little bit quick, so she put a bit of brake on. Now the brake here works a bit like a tap, where that's currently in. There we go. So the way the brake works is that's released, roughly that there's a lap. I can then apply the brake slowly, and then put it to the lap which holds it, and then release, which lets it off again. So yeah, and it takes a little bit of getting used to. And it's been a day or so since it's been about 3 days actually since I last did this run to make my notes. To give you guys an idea, the notes for this run are about 2 sides of A5 paper, or about a side and a quarter, sorry. And that covers things like gradients and speed limits and braking points. So the next thing to be aware of is when I have an AWS run coming the other way, and that's about 0.7 of a mile until a 20 limit for a railway crossing, which I'll point out the gimmicks of that to you, because it's a slightly different rule that we use when we're on this one. This would potentially be the AWS run here. So yes, you can see this speedboard and this sign in front of us, indicates that basically isn't relevant to us. So that's about 0.7 of a mile until the 20 limit. So it's a very, very slow route, this. You can see we're doing 36.5 miles an hour. I always do my best to use if we're in a residential area, what drivers would tend to do is just as simple. But just due to the time of day and the fact that we know there's going to be a high pedestrian activity, people going to work, kids going to school, they're old. Just make sure people know, it's a train. And it's a museum piece. I'm going to go just at a notch 1 of power, just gives us a bit of a boost. Now what I'm actually looking out for from a braking point is going to be a single aspect signal, which won't be illuminated. It's a little bit more difficult to spot, sorry. So yeah. So the 20 actually doesn't come into force there, it comes into force at the signal. And straight through, and then we just put the power back in, because as soon as we clear the crossing we go up to a upper line speed of 40. Yep. And the next stop, as mentioned, is Little Kimble. Little Kimble is roughly, as I say, it's roughly 1 mile after the next AWS run we cross. So unfortunately some of these don't have whistle boards, but I will give a blast to the horn whenever I see a pedestrian crossing. And for the out of town ones, I give just a single tone. And if we could see someone there, we'll go to the 3 tones. I believe this was the last really Kuju based route that JT had made. And it was just, but even with this they really upgraded the amount of custom assets they had. Since I put the patch in, the physics have changed quite substantially, which is why the speed's getting away from me quite a lot. Again, that's like the same there, negates the AWS, but we're just going to keep coasting, because we've got, I say, it's about a mile now, until our next speed line. I'm going to go to notch 1 of power, so if I go notch 2, and then go back to notch 1. Full power, and I'll just keep around the speed. So I'm just monitoring out the window. I believe Little Kimble. I think it's just over this right hand turn. Yeah, it's a third of a mile from that signal we zoomed in to look at. Then we're going to go notch 1, which is just going to hold us stable. As you can see, the interior of the Class 121 is a little bit different. You can see straight through the driver's compartment out the front. They do have the privacy blinds though, which I've got to say, if I was driving, I'd probably have those rolled down most of the time I was in here, because that's just pressure, isn't it, really? I am working to bring route learning back to the channel. I'm just going to coast now, because we've got the, it's just after this curve, I believe, is Little Kimble. No speed change before the station, but we just play it safe rather than sorry. A bit of brake on, bit off, bit on, hold it in lap mode, which just holds the brake pressure the way it is, There we go, release the brake, because I've now started the station. That's the technical term I like us to use. And again, quick blast on the horn because this is a really quiet line, and someone may make the advice thing going, yeah, it's quiet, I'm just going to sit with my legs over the edge, and I come past and then got no legs anymore, because you can see we're between no power. You know, we are very quiet coming at the station. So I'm just going to stop midway along the platform, midway towards the end. We've got the mirrors there for DLO operation, so I'm going to slide closer to those. Realistically, in this thing we've got a guard, so it wouldn't really make that much of a difference. There we go. And that's the doors open at Princess Risbrough. So about a minute late, which is actually for a route learning run, is not that bad. It's very, very difficult to keep the quickest possible timings, if you like, when you're driving hoodless. Just because you don't have that safety blanket of knowing how far exactly away the next station is. For departing Princess Risbrough, our next stop is actually, sorry, this is Little Kimble, sorry. So for departing Little Kimble, our next stop is Monk's Risbrough, which is about a mile and a half away. Starting speed limit is up at 20 miles an hour. We'll buzz back. So I'm going to knock into gear 1, take power, and go straight to full power just to get us moving. Got the whistle board straight after the station. So the station is about half a mile, sorry, from the. I don't understand how I managed to get click the wiper button as I'm from the horn at the horn. Yeah, the horn's down there. Wiper button is that. So as I say, it's the second overbridge that we start braking from. Now that we've left Little Kimble. Fun fact about Little Kimble: it is the station, the nearest railway station to Chequers, which is sort of the UK equivalent of Camp David, and it is where the UK Prime Minister can go ahead and entertain guests. And the Royal Train has actually come to Princess Risbrough before. Sorry, to Little Kimble, when it was, I believe it was the wives of the G9? G6? I think it was G6 at the time. Were basically taken from wherever the meeting was. The husbands all went in a helicopter, and the wives went on the Royal Train. Which is kind of cool. Right. I'm going to go to gear. Yep. Shifting. There we go. So when we come to coast long distances, we should be doing that in gear 4. It's something I'm trying to keep on top of, but it is just a little bit more of a thing to remember. And this is our second overbridge, so the station is 0.45 miles away. So it's going to be a sharp brake application and well visual. But the next thing we're looking out for actually is an electrical box on the right hand side of the line. So I'm immediately pulling power now, keeping an eye on the speed. I'm going to go into notch 1, see what that does for us. You've got to remember, the speedometer on this isn't the most accurate thing in the universe, owing to the age of the vehicle. Let's just use that phrase. Unfortunately as well, my frame rate isn't too brilliant on this route. I will be getting a PC upgrade within the next 3 months. That's the time scale I'm putting on things. 3 months, 6 months, a year. So there we go. I'm going to go full brakes. Go down about 15, maybe 10 for entering the station. Fully release. Yeah, the station's a bit longer than I remember it being. We'll just stop midway along again. This unit is actually similar to the one that they have on the Weardale Railway. And had I not got the job at Dovetail, I was going to be working as a Christmas elf on the Weardale, which would have been incredibly cool. So, that is Monks Risbrough, starting the speed limit once again, 40 miles an hour. So I'm going to reduce back to gear 1. Brakes can come off, much 2 power can be taken. Let's get going. Princess Risbrough is 1.3 miles away. Now we've got to keep an eye out ahead on this run for a single amber aspect that will be ahead of us. Made that gear change up too soon. And I'll wreck the gearbox. So basically, when you only change gear after it drops below the amber arcs. After the speed drops below the amber arcs. So this is the engine instrument gauge here. So gear change down, gear change up. We're changing up a gear on quite a regular basis, just to keep track with the train. That is our green aspect. We don't care about that one. It's the amber aspect we care about. So as I say, what we do now, when the stutter finishes, because it's loading the tile, is we're just going to let it settle, and then we change up to gear 4. However, we don't want gear 4 because, yeah, but we do now because we're coasting. And we're probably going to just keep coasting and use the, so it's a gentle downhill grade from here. So we're just going to keep an eye out on the line ahead and just enjoy the run, I suppose. Yeah, this was when JT vegetation wasn't the greatest. In some people's opinions it still isn't, but I just think it's a bit better than this orange stuff. That's the 15, and the 15 limit is at that signal. So, the signal is at that 15 limit. Gently take a bit of power out now. You can see it there, so I'm just going to get the speed out, get the brake out, sorry. And we're going into platform B, which is basically, well, we're going onto the B route, which is platform 2, I believe, platform 1. Platform 1, Princess Risbrough. Which is the colour platform. So what we're going to do is, as we're pulling in, I'm setting gear to notch 4. And then as we get close to the platform, I'm going to go into gear 1, just in case we need any power. And we'll come up with stand and secure the train. So yes, I need a bit of a boost of power now. Just going to shift D. Use gear 1. Actually, I can use this in notch 3 to keep us about stable at 15. Bit quick. So we'll roll down to the end of the platform. Give the passengers a nice disembarkation of the canopy. Even though if we were to stop here, they would be that uncomfortable and that inconvenienced. There we go. So I'm going to pop the doors, and now that we've done that, I'm going to set the tail lamps. Reverser can go neutral, and brake can go for service. So guys, that is it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, hit the like button. Subscribe to see more from me on a semi-regular basis. If you've got routes you'd like to see me do as route learners, let me know in the comments below. See you next time guys. Bye for now.